Hello folks, I hope that you're having just a great and safe day today. Today I want to go a little bit outside the box with my reviews. Normally my reviews take a look at older stuff, but today I want to do something a little different because I don't think it gets the respect that it deserves. And we're going to be looking at City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I'm not going to do the rest of the Mortal Instruments series, although I've read a few books in it. I haven't read the entire series. I do like the series, and I was surprised by how good this is. It's not at the level of, you know, a Harry Potter, even or even, you know, the sorry, my brain is stopping for a second. The four book series by the Archer, Hunger Games. I knew if I talk about it enough, I'd remember it. But those two are better. But this is, I think, better than pretty much anything else that I've read. I was reviewing an old Lindsay Ellis article where she was online, where she was reviewing the Mortal Instruments movie that's based off of City of Bones, and in that she actually reviewed the novel too, and I actually agreed with her. And I was surprised to find that, you know, an adult person who has gone back and read this actually agreed with my take on it, because I think it's surprisingly competent. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I'll talk about it in a little bit. But I was actually surprised by how good it is, and how competent it is as in terms of its writing, its character development, and so forth. It never takes itself too seriously, unlike the spin-off Shadowhunters TV series or the movie The Mortal Instruments, which do seem to take the source material very, 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 very seriously and dark. And taking this lighthearted fun, you know, but never takes itself too seriously, young adult fiction, and then turning it into these grim dark properties on TV or movies, I think does a disservice to the source material. In this case, I think that tone, and so if you're coming into the book series having watched the movie or the TV show, then you will be probably surprised at how lighthearted the book is and how light the tone is. It's a very big different tone. It's about the same. If you're watching the CW TV shows, take Arrow or Batwoman, who are all about just super dark episodes, super dark concepts, and compare them to, say, The Flash, or Legends of Tomorrow, which may have some serious episodes or some darker seasons, but still, they still have this lighter tone. They take time to smell the roses. They never take themselves too seriously, particularly Legends of Tomorrow. Supergirl's also sometimes the same way. It's kind of light, fun. Stargirl also the same way too. So if you watch the Arrowverse shows, the movies and the TV show that take from City of Bones are more like Arrow or Batwoman, whereas the core sort of source material reads more like a Flash, if that makes sense, in terms of that tonal difference, which is, I think, creates a tonal dissonance if you're a fan of the series. Or if you come to the spin-off material from the series itself, you'll be like, what's going on there? Why would they have chosen that style? Why would they have chosen a grimdark style when that's not how it's written? So we'll take a look at Cassandra Clare's City of Bones. Before I do, I want to take a couple of minutes and talk about why we should spend more time reading young adult fiction. The reason why we want to read the same things, and why we grow up, we have that literary canon, things that you're reading in English classes and literature classes and college classes. You're reading things is so that way, because we all understand them and we use them in our conversations. You're a literate person if you've read people like Shakespeare, for example. You know, if I'm the quote Romeo and Juliet and talk about two fair houses both in Verona, where we lay our scene, both alike in dignity, and I'm quoting Romeo and Juliet for you, then you understand who I'm quoting, why I'm quoting it, what the context is, and so forth. If I talk about Lady Macbeth, and say that such and such is like Lady Macbeth, or reminded me of Macbeth, my understanding is that you, as a literate person, has read Macbeth and is familiar with that concept, and so you understand my reference. It's the lingua franca of literate people, if that makes sense. And so you need to understand Shakespeare. You need to understand all these great writers, from poems like Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard, or When I Have Fears That I May Cease to Be, or Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, to our foundational mythic works like Beowulf, Odyssey, and the Iliad. We use examples from these. We talk about these as if people that we talk to have read them, so they need to have read them to get caught up. Well, it's the same thing with whatever is hot with your generation. Take as an example the Harry Potter series. The Harry Potter series came out when I was in my late 20s. So it didn't come out when I was in college or in high school or in junior high when it was popular with young adult audiences. But it was incredibly popular. There were movies made from it. The series was incredibly popular, and the series has not only, I think, it's going to stand the test of time like other children's fiction. Like the Wind in the Willows, or The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, or The Hobbit. I think it'll stand the test of time. But also it became the lingua franca of our children, of our college students, of our high school students. So I've read the series. I've gone to it and I've read the series. I've also read Hunger Games series, like I talked about before. I forgot its name, but I'm remembering it now. The Hunger Games series. I also forgot some of the basic core concepts, but that's all right, it's fine. But yeah, I've also read, other things too, like Twilight and so forth, things that were popular at the time. And I've gone into City of Bones and the Mortal Instruments series as well, because it's popular. People talk about it. It has a lingua franca. There are a lot of YouTube videos on this series. There are a lot of reviews on this series from kids. It's a common concept. And so just like children should be reading things that make them a literate person in our modern society, like Shakespeare, we as adults should also be reading what they're reading. The J.K. Rowling's, the Cassandra Clares, and so forth, because we want to be all on the same page. It's only fair, right? If we expect them to read our stuff, it's only fair that we read their stuff too. Also, in addition, I work with college students. I've read these things, so it helps for me to have had a central sort of from the same place that they have had with their literature. So I've read it. So let's take a quick look, and I'll do a quick little synopsis for you of City of Bones. You might be familiar from it from Shadowhunters or from the Mortal Instruments movie that were both based on this. But basically, our main character, it's going to be Claire. She's going to be somebody. She's just become 18. And we're going to start with her 18th birthday. And we're going to follow her story. And she's the main character, starting from her 18th birthday, moving on. Starting on her 18th birthday, and when she's going out to celebrate it with some friends that she has, she's going to start seeing some things that her friends aren't seeing, and so there is this dissonance between what she and her friend Simon might be seeing. She's seeing things that Simon isn't seeing, for example, and other people that she's going out with to celebrate her birthday. So what's going on, and so forth. She's seeing these people, this battle. That nobody else is seeing at this club, and so forth. So we're going to follow along, and these characters that are introduced in this club, the people that Claire can see, are going to be ones that we will be able to immediately identify with, and will become main characters of the series moving forward. Although Claire is still always going to be our point of view character, she is the introductory character to the series as a whole. We're going to learn very soon that there is this sort of a war with protectors and so forth of this spiritual nature, and that a lot of creatures that are out there, like fairies and fairies and elves, and angels and wizards and so forth, vampires, all exist, and we're going to be introduced into this various world. One of the key sort of quotes from the early part of the movie is that all the stories you've heard are true. And this idea that's being told to Clary as she's being introduced to it. Our key characters, though, are these shadow hunters, and that are sort of these protectors. They are sort of the children of angels and humans in the Nephilim that you see in the early Old Testament, and they're sort of Nephilim, and they have powers based on tattoos, and their tattoos have different levels of powers. They have glyphs and so forth that they'll put on their skin. And these glyphs will give them various levels of powers, from being invisible to other people that don't have powers, to having additional powers in combat and those sorts of things. So there'll be these sort of tattoos that are tattooed with these different sigils on them that will have different meanings and powers, and that's where they get their powers from. As the Nephilim, that are the key sort of defenders of the spiritual world. They'll investigate crime. They'll go after people that have broken sort of the covenant between the different tribes, and so forth. But you've got everything from vampires and werewolves to wizards like Magnus Bane and a lot more. The story, like I said, is incredibly well written. I was surprised by how good it was. I'm not going to go on and on and on about it. It wasn't, to my mind, a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 8 out of 10. I think it's a 6 out of 10, which is where I put, for example, Douglas Adams's Life, Universe, and Everything, although this kept my attention more. I do think that Douglas Adams is probably the better writer compared to Cassandra Clare. So when it comes to character development, I think she's better. Plot, I think she's better. Keeping things breezy, I think that's Douglas Adams's. Jokes, Douglas Adams's. I think he's the more gifted writer, so I give them both the same ranking. But I was surprised by how much I actually enjoyed this, and I continued the series as a result from City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. Have you read it? Have you heard of it? What did you think about it? Did you agree or disagree with my take on it? I'd be happy to engage you with that further in the comments below. I'll link you to the series, so if you're interested in it, you can check it out. I don't anticipate coming back to the rest of the series, like City of Ashes or anything else like that. I expect this to be kind of the lone, don't expect me to go, deep diving down a young adult well. I'm not going to be looking at, any of the other sort of the genres. I just think that the Mortal Instruments City of Bones may have a bit of a bad rap from adult reviewers, and so I want to put out there my own 10 cents and what it's worth. I think it's, I think it's well done and well crafted as a writer. Good job, Cassandra Clare. It's a good place to start this journey into this world, this urban fantasy world. And there you go. Again, I'll leave you to it. If you enjoyed this video, please feel encouraged to hit that subscribe button. There's going to be so many more of these classics to follow in fantasy, science fiction, and horror. And then finally, I want to take some time to thank you for taking some time out of your day to watch my video. We all have so many things happening in our lives, so the fact that you spent your time with me is so humbling, and I really do appreciate that. So thanks again, and have an absolutely great day today.